Torterra had a pretty rough competitive history throughout the generations. Torterra was at its peak in its debut generation in Gen 4, finding itself a solid niche in the EU tier and even a small niche in the OU tier as a rock polish sweeper. Torterra really suffers from below average stats and a not ideal stat distribution, as it is not that strong and very slow. It has some good bulk to it, but can hardly make use of it with its not so great defensive typing, leaving it vulnerable to common attacking types like fire, ice, flying and U-turn. It does have some nice qualities like an immunity to electric type attacks and a resistance to ground and rock attacks. Aside from its niche in Gen 4, Torterra hasn't had much success in competitive singles. However, all of this is about to change with its reintroduction in Gen 9. Torterra has returned to Pokémon Scarlet and Violet with a new Teal Mask DLC, and it released some massive buffs in its generation and is right now probably at its all-time peak. While Torterra will probably not be a top tier threat in the Gen 9 OU tier, it does have some great potential in the lower tiers. So what makes Torterra so potent in Gen 9 compared to the other generations? Well, Torterra still suffers from below average stats, especially in the Gen 9 climate and the massive power creep it has introduced, as well as an exploitable typing and two very lackluster abilities. It gained some very impactful move pool buffs with its reintroduction that might be able to solve a lot of its problems. The two most notable buffs that Torterra has received are the moves Shell Smash and Headlong Rush. Shell Smash is one of the best set of moves in the game, boosting users' attack, special attack and speed stat by 2 stages, but dropping its defense and special defense by 1 stage. This gives Torterra a much needed boost to its below average attack stat, while also boosting its very low speed stat at the same time. This allows Torterra to slightly outpace some of the fastest Pokémon in the game, like a Dragapult for example, even with an adamant nature, meaning it does not even need to sacrifice power for speed. We have seen how much the addition of Shell Smash can impact the viability of a Pokémon, even if it has not performed well in other generations. Dreadnought is a clear example of that. In Gen 8, Dreadnought was untiered. However, in Gen 9 it gained access to Shell Smash and chopped up from untiered to NUBL. While it is not even close to a broken Pokémon or meta-defining threat in the OU tier, it's still a significant rise in viability with just the addition of one move. In the past, Torterra had to rely on Swords Dance and Rock Polish as set of moves to gain the same benefit as Shell Smash. The problem, however, is that it takes 2 turns to set up, and Torterra is fairly easy to take advantage of when it is setting up, usually being forced out as a result. But now it only needs 1 turn to set up, and does not need to sacrifice 2 move slots to do so, allowing for an additional coverage option, which is very important. Torterra's ground typing also makes it immune to Thunder Wave, which could otherwise be used to stop it from sweeping. With Pokémon Legends Arceus, Torterra now also has access to the move Headlong Rush, which is a 120 base power physical ground move that drops the user's defensive stats by 1 stage when used. This is basically the ground version of the move Close Combat. Before Gen 9, Torterra's strongest ground stab was Earthquake. While Earthquake is one of the best attacking moves out there, Headlong Rush offers a substantial 20% power boost over Earthquake. This is more important for a Pokémon like Torterra, as it is not that strong to begin with, so Headlong Rush might net it KOs it would not get with Earthquake. Torterra also does not care about the stat drops as much, since it will be able to outspeed the majority of Pokémon anyway with the Shell Smash speed boost. Shell Smash also already lowers its defensive stats to begin with, and that extra stat drop will rarely make a difference as Torterra is not that bulky to begin with. One thing to mention though, is that Headlong Rush is a contact based move, while Earthquake is not. This can make a difference as Earthquake would avoid contact based effects like Rocky Helmet and Flame Body. Aside from Shell Smash and Headlong Rush, Torterra also gained access to the move Rock Blast. This might not seem that substantial at first, as Torterra already had access to Stone Edge for rock coverage. Rock Blast is overall weaker than Stone Edge. However, Rock Blast offers some qualities that Stone Edge lacks. Stone Edge's biggest drawback is its 20% chance to miss. 20% is nothing to sneeze at, and it will screw you over in some important scenarios. Rock Blast is more accurate with its 90% accuracy, and it also greatly benefits from the newly introduced item Loaded Dice. Loaded Dice is a health item which enables multi-hit moves to always hit at least 4 times. This means Rock Blast will be 100 base power in minimum, making it just as strong as Stone Edge, and it can even go up to 125 base power. This gives Torterra a more reliable way to hit flying and bug types for great damage. Torterra also has another move that can greatly take advantage of Loaded Dice, this being Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed is in the same boat as Rock Blast. It will be at least 100 base power and can go up to 125 base power. Bullet Seed, however, is 100% accurate, unlike Rock Blast. In the past, Torterra's strongest grass stab was Wood Hammer, which has the significant drawback of dealing 33% of the damage dealt as recoil damage to the user. This is not even mentioning potential life orb recoil or contact based effects. Loaded Dice plus Bullet Seed has no drawbacks, can even outdamage Wood Hammer in some cases, and is not a contact move. Loaded Dice blesses Torterra with 2 100 base power moves for basically free, making it a great item choice on this Pokemon. These buffs are a significant upgrade from its past movesets, and are pretty much a revamp of the movesets it did use. Other buffs Torterra has received is the combination of Aerial Defense plus Body Press. This can allow defensive sets to get some more shine, while also exerting amazing offensive pressure. This also pairs nicely with the move Synthesis to keep Torterra healthy. You can even use Stealth Rock 2 as another utility option. While this sounds nice in theory, its low speed stat and terrible defensive typing makes this set much more difficult to pull off compared to an offensive set. A defensive Terra type like Water could really help, but does not make up for its poor qualities. With the massive power creep in Gen 9, Torterra will probably not stay in the OU tier. However, these buffs are a substantial upgrade from how Torterra was used in the past. If I had to make a prediction, I would say that we'll probably end up in the RU tier, which is a big step up from untiered in Gen 7 and a welcomed one. What do you think about Torterra in Gen 9? Do you think these buffs will finally give it a solid niche in a metagame? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you want to see more content like this, you can let me know by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you next time.